first match in Swiss round one, sorry. We are jumping into a Mali Druid up against what appears to be an odd warrior for Pokrovac in what is looking like not all too good of a situation for the Malagos Druid, as one could probably expect.
Yes, Pokrovac has a lot of armor right now. The Malagos Druid we've just seen the Malagos die. It's not a good sign. Yeah. It's looking like Pokrovac probably going to take this one. Let's go through their lineups very quickly. I believe that Insania's Paladin was banned and Pokrovac's Druid was banned. Yeah. Makes sense. So that leaves Pokrovac with his Priest, which is... Wait, Topsy-Turvy?
It's Topsy-Turvy Priest.
Topsy-Turvy Priest?
Wow. Well, I mean, it lost straight away. What do you know?
Okay. I'm really annoyed now. Topsy-Turvy Priest, and he's still got his... Rattle Row? No, it's just Quest Mode.
Yeah. And we are joining right at the end there as Pokrovac closes out the game. Insania has literally nothing left, which means now, with his Druid quickly swept away, he has just a Death Rattle Hunter, plain and simple, 2 years ago, and then a somewhat more disappointing performance this year in the global games, I suppose you could call it.
Now, Insania, not a very well-known player at all, but I actually know him personally, because back when before I started casting, when I used to stream, he was one of the regular viewers in my stream, and I became pretty good friends with him. Prepped for a few tournaments with him in the past. He was in the votes for the Hearthstone Global Games this year. Right. But I think the 4 people that got in for the Netherlands, they're pretty popular. Yeah. So, Insania is a great player. I'm happy to see him competing at an event. It's a pretty small world, isn't it? That out of all 2 viewers who watched your stream, he's one of them. Yeah. Yeah. And he is indeed getting off to a pretty good start here. He finds one of the, what I would call 3 cards that matter in this matchup in the mulligan. In Keleseth, Rexar, and Katharina. Those are pretty much the only cards I think I'd ever be looking for in the mulligan. Obviously with Deathstalker Rexar being of the highest priority. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Derek, but I have to mention the elephant in the room. Yeah. The game board! Oh wow, I didn't even realize. I am such a Hearthstone non-role player, I didn't even look at what was around the board. That looks fun. I wonder what that big drum does when you click it. If you're really quiet, you can hear there's the new music as well. Oh, perfect. Let's just be quiet for the rest of the cast. Sounds good to me. As pretty much everything that Insania is doing in these early turns, while good to make sure the armor doesn't get too high, is not all that important. That is not how this matchup is won the vast majority of the time. You can lead yourself into positions where by keeping their armor low, a timely Katharina can just blow the game out because you go King Crush into Cube Play Dead, which may be what Insania is looking to do because he is very heavily considering playing this tracking, which you very often don't do in this matchup. And he gets Katharina and Rexar off of the tracking. Oh, and King Crush. Like, okay, having King Crush there as well must lower the amount that you want to take Katharina. And look at the visual cues, or like the ticks that Insania is giving to Pokrovac by throwing his hand up in the air. As soon as this Rexar was played, which Pokrovac will be tracking, he will know that was off of the tracking. I think he can pretty firmly realize that something else good was in there, be it High Main or King Crush or Katharina itself in the best case scenario for him. That is a miserable decision for Insania, but it has to be the Rexar. And on the bright side, we are now looking at a Hunter versus Warrior game where Rexar will be played on turn 6. Yes. Like, there is definitely a pretty bright silver lining here. Yeah. But there's so much working against that, though, because I find the games that don't go right through to fatigue for the Hunter are games where Rexar is drawn and Katharina is drawn. Because then you can just aggro them out of the game. Right. You just play your King Crush, your Charged Devil Swords, High Mains, whatever you have in your deck, and you ship it all face. Whereas now that Katharina is gone, I think there's a really good chance that Pokrovac will be able to remove pretty much everything that Insania plays right through to fatigue. Which means because the tracking was played, he's 2 cards further into fatigue, or 3 cards, I suppose, after he drew the Rexar. Thing is, it's very difficult knowing when to and when not to play tracking. Very difficult. Given that how early you play Rexar is one of the most vital parts of the matchup, there's definitely a temptation to try and dig through the deck to get closer. But as you're saying,
that does reduce how long you survive fatigue. Either way, Insania half rewarded, half punished for his tracking play. I think he's going to be feeling okay over the next few turns.
And I honestly would not be surprised if we could ask Pokrovac right now, what card do you think was on the tracking? And he said Katharina. I genuinely think he will be able to have made that read from the way Insania was just visually upset.
What do you think Insania is going to be aiming for when building beasts now, though? Do you think he's just going to go for the biggest things possible? Is there any keywords he's looking for?
You're looking for stealth.
Yep.
A lot of the time, that's definitely one of the best ones. You're looking for charge. Obviously, it can be very strong. And outside of that, just trying to get those weird little combinations that work to make powerful zombies. Like if you can get a stealthed Tundra Rhino, that's incredibly powerful. Like Corpse Widow can be good to get your little tricksy death rattle things to work. But stealth and charge is mainly what he's looking for.
Okay.
Because that almost guarantees an attack through to face.
I'm surprised he didn't opt to press that button last turn. It's one of those buttons that you want to press as many times as you possibly can, usually.
I agree, obviously, that you want to be playing for value in this matchup. I think one of the things that is overlooked, though, in this matchup is that Rexxar is obviously a very low-tempo play in this matchup, because it's not like against Odd Paladin where you blow up their whole board when you play it. It does basically nothing the turn you play it. And so you have to catch up afterwards because you spent 6 mana not developing at all. So I think using the mana in the couple of turns after Rexxar to regain the board is a very valid way of approaching this matchup. Obviously now, though, he should be starting to look for those zombies.
It's not a good zombies, is it?
Not the best.
Actually, it's worked out this turn, sort of. Again, it's not the value that he'd have been looking for. He clears the board.
It gets damage to face. It's fine.
Blow pats everywhere today.
Light the fuses!
Okay.
Hey, wins the 50-50 as well. And now with Insania's hand doing very little indeed, he's going to have to be relying on building them beasties to get himself into the lead.
Grizzly's okay. The egg can be used to get in Super Collider's way, sort of.
It's true.
But yeah, building a beast definitely looks like the way to start this turn, and most turns moving forwards.
Not bad options.
I do like Corpse Widow. Not necessarily here, just generally. I do like that card from Build a Beast.
It is a cool card. Yeah, Cave Hydra, Jungle Panther, he's got that stealth he's looking for. That can clear off any board of the little taunts that are put in the way as well, or in the ideal scenario, get that damage through to face once again.
Out of my jungle!
Cornered Sentry Mind Control Tech is a pretty cute combo to think about here. You obviously usually end up with a 1-1, but who knows? Maybe you get yourself a 6-6 as well. I guess Mind Control Tech is such a valuable tool in this matchup. Not even necessarily to play, but just to have as a constant threat. Just to mean that the Hunter can never go wide on the board, because as soon as you do play all your Mind Control Techs, they start throwing out zombies everywhere. They cube, they play dead, they go super wide. Whereas before then, Insania is going to be very reluctant indeed to play more than 3 minions.
In the meantime, though, it's not a big disaster for Insania. He can just play the biggest beasts he can.
Oh yes, more stealth.
It's not very often he's going to need to have more than 3 minions on the board anyway. And yeah, that Hyena Panther, not looking too bad at all. The other side of the egg, I guess? I'm not sure it matters too much.
I think you put it the other side of the egg, because there's a good chance that the Cave Hydra attacks in here just to clear off both of these minions very cleanly. I mean, he doesn't have to play it on this turn. We could see a Grizzly instead, because you want to have some beasts that might actually die when you play the Scavenging Hyena.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely goes the other side of the egg now. I totally forgot the Cave Hydra close up both minions for a second there.
Oh yes. It's what it does best.
This egg's sort of in the way for both players. It's in Insania's way because he can't develop a third beast without playing into mind control tech. It's in
That's true.
Pokrovac's way because of the weapon. It's just being annoying, as eggs tend to be in real life.
So many choices.
Those goddamn Shelly boys. Yeah, and that is going to be a very nice, easy clear for Pokrovac.
If he put that down to 1 health, that would have been a problem. If one more of those hit that minion and didn't hit the stealth, then Pokrovac wouldn't have been able to clear with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it goes down to 1, then he just kills off one of them. It's not as good, but even in the worst case scenario, it's still okay. Well, I guess the worst case, it doesn't hit the egg at all. The vastly more likely outcome works out very nicely there for Pokrovac, doing what he does best in this matchup, clearing stuff off. But it's not going to work forever. If you don't find Dr. Boom relatively soon, Pokrovac will just be outvalued. He can't fight back against that Zombies hero power forever.
Like, what does Pokrovac have here? He has 2 shield slams and 1 charge of the Super Collider, which Insania specifically has to play into for it to do anything. Oh, wow.
Oh, and that was... I think that was with the Hunting Mastiff. So that can shuffle 3 cards into his deck.
Okay.
If they all die, I believe that was the outcome. Potentially even 4 if he wants to play dead one of them as well.
And we were talking about the fatigue game earlier.
That is huge. That is potentially 4 cards he could shuffle into his deck. Maybe more if he can cube one of them as well.
What are they? 1 mana 4/3s, I think?
The alphas that are shuffled in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many choices.
Which is fine. It just supplements whatever beasts get built that turn.
Oh yeah, like it really doesn't matter what they are. It could be 0 mana do nothing that you shuffle into the deck. As long as it pushes away that fatigue counter, that is what matters. Because that is what Pokrovac is relying on here. For the moment, he's keeping board control, but I think he knows this is not a winning board control. This isn't going to push lethal. It's going to delay. Just make it annoying for Insania. Really difficult to lock down the board.
Does he just do it this turn? Just play all 3? Make the 3 trades?
That's pretty sick.
I don't think he needs to play dead. I don't think there's any need to add a 4th one to the deck.
Yeah, roll of the eyes from Pokrovac. This is really miserable for his game plan. He has to now start actually making a big swing onto the board, which has become significantly more difficult because he just played his mind control tech, which is one of the strongest cards in this matchup if your opponent plays into it. Obviously, Insania, the way he's been playing so far, has been very reluctant to play into mind control tech, but it's still difficult for Pokrovac to pull things back. Unless he gets double Direhorn Matriarch.
It's not the worst, but looking at Insania's hand, there's still a Spider Bomb, there's a Flanking Strike to activate it, there's 2 Hunter's Marks, there's Play Dead, you know, like, he's got everything he could possibly need to deal with this. He can still start this turn by building a beast, make the biggest thing he can, and then worry about the 6/9 later.
Guess you go Bloatbat there, but you want the proactive beasts, not the reactive beasts here. And Subject 9 is just bad.
I don't mind Hungry Crab, and then just take the biggest second option. Like Hungry Crab plus the Mastiff would have been okay, or plus Bloodworm.
I suppose. I think there's, like, going for Cobra here is fine. Like,
Blowback Cobra,
Yeah, it's not good now, but at some point, this will be a really nice way to completely clear up the board.
He's got Play Dead, so...
If they ever go wide with Direhorn into Faceless Manipulator, you just let rip with the Bloatbat, you've won back to board, and Insania will still be in a good spot.
Yep, that's a great little bit of insurance that he's got there. I am really struggling to see how Pokrovac comes back from this. It goes to show us sort of how unimpactful losing the Katharina ended up being.
Engaging
That's
obviously Katharina is very strong in this matchup, but when you play Rexar on turn 6, how does the Warrior ever keep up, especially without Dr. Boom?
That's true, yeah. I mean, like, maybe Insania would have been considering not playing the Katharina because you don't want to recruit cards from your deck because that brings you closer to fatigue. I think with the way this game was shaping out, he would have liked to do that. Yeah. He would have liked to have played Katharina because he would have pushed his advantage so aggressively.
Maybe before shuffling in the 1 mana 4/3 beasts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. Because it's not ridiculous to assume that he will get that option again. that he will be able to shuffle more. Like, it's unlikely he gets it with the Echo Rush again, but just shuffling one more beast is a big difference in terms of fatigue.
I wonder.
And obviously going to be looking at Bloatbat Play Dead.
It's tempting.
On this turn.
It's with so many other ways to remove the board. I mean, this is perfectly fine. I don't know when he's going to get a better Bloatbat Play Dead at this rate. There's only 2 cards.
That's my concern as well, is it's clearly not very good here because you have many options that do the same job in a similar way. But maybe just... Oh no, actually he doesn't want it on the board because he doesn't want it easy for his opponent to get a Super Collider, I suppose.
I'm not sure what Pokrovac even... I guess an Omega Assembly could get him aboard, maybe.
I mean, it's a boom. It's Dr. Boom is what he has to get to be able to get the...
He doesn't even run a lease.
Yeah, very low value version.
Reckless Flurry is another board clear at the expense of his 20 armor. Over half of his health.
I mean, yeah, Insania, his game plan is just pretty easy from here on, and you click the button, you make the biggest boy you can, and you put that big boy on the board.
What is it with these Megasaurs?
I tell you what, Pokrovac's going to be Megasaur by the end of this game.
Damn.
Anyone?
Divine Shield, Poisonous Battle Cry, adapt your Murlocs. Okay.
There we go.
Omega Assembly. Right, Pokrovac can do something this turn. Ooh!
That's not bad. Considering how lackluster a lot of the mechs can be, Weaponized Pinata, who knows? Maybe that can get something. Benedictus, why not? What would be good? Like Tyrantus? Any of the giant minions just die?
I don't think Tyrantus, I don't even think
yeah, it doesn't do anything. It just dies to Spider Bomb.
It needs to be a crazy Battle Cry or Death Rattle or something.
Yeah.
I'm really drawing a blank outside Benedictus. I don't even think Rin does anything here.
Yeah, it's too slow, isn't it?
I wonder.
He'd get like Time Tinkerer Toki into Yogg-Saron. That's what I'm calling.
I mean, it's possible.
That's the sequence of events.
Pokrovac's played quite a few spells this game as well.
Yeah, he's been playing for that Yogg out right from the start. Genius play from our Czech friend here.
I bet it's happened to someone in a matchup like this with the Warrior.
Law of large numbers.
Yeah.
Senku's fate. I wonder.
Insania here, really just wondering how do I best meter out my threats, because, you know, we're always saying how value is so firmly on his side. Even with the beast shuffled in, he does need to kind of consider the fatigue possibilities.
That's not bad.
I think that is actually a board clear because it does 2 to the high main,
and then 2
to the guys, and then
there's no.
Okay, that's surprisingly good. There's the 2, the 4.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait.
No, it doesn't quite.
Oh, it doesn't quite. Yeah, you're right.
Megasaur.
You're right. Because Megasaur counts as the 6/7.
He could silence the Megasaur.
Or the 7/8.
He could owl the Megasaur and then play Godfrey. That would do it. Right?
Yes. Which isn't ridiculous at all. Like, he needs to deal with this board, because if he doesn't do something with this, then he's going to be met with Q play dead a very healthy amount of the time.
Godfrey is one of the better cards Pokrovac could have gotten from that, I think. Struggling to think about anything better.
Would you believe me if I actually said I was thinking he might get Lord Godfrey?
No.
Okay. Because I was.
Well, you should have said that before then.
I know. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. As Pokrovac gives one last effort to pull back the board, and Insania's eyes kind of say it all there.
I think the last thing he ever expected to happen. We got some great facial expressions.
We've had
this
some very good
tournament so
reactions
far.
here, yeah.
It's only the first round of the Swiss.
Which is one of my favorite things about the less experienced tournament players, is they're less jaded. Like, you know, players like Pokrovac who have been around the block a whole bunch of times, nothing phases them.
Right.
Zixo, it took double Lightning Storm into eggs to get any kind of reaction from him at all, but Insania, it doesn't take much to get a good show from him.
Did he take Arthas then?
I did not see. But Arthas is usually a pretty high value option. It is, according to Purple, the best card in the game.
What?
Or maybe he said it was the best card in the deck in the tweet. It was Purple, he was memeing.
He did take Arthas. There you go, just get some death grips. Improve the fatigue game even more.
Why not? It's just got some good outcomes. If you do get through to fatigue, then Doom Pact becomes very powerful. Before then, Anti-Magic Shell can be very good.
Death and Decay and Death Coil are obviously very good.
Oh,
themselves. It's only really Army of the Dead that's bad.
Yes, I agree. You don't want to be recruiting out your 1-mana 4/3s.
Had some pretty nice timing on the Super Collider there.
Yeah, that's very, very nice. And it means that somehow, as Odd Warrior always somehow manages, Pokrovac is back in the lead on the board because of Omega Assembly into Weaponized Pinata into Godfrey.
Do you think there's any consideration on play deading the Zombies? Sorry, the Arthas Zombies specifically, yeah.
Very much so. I think there's... Now that a Mind Control tech has been played, you kind of want to save it for Cube play dead, I think, more often. But it's worth considering. One good Lich King card could turn things around. Imagine if he got Frostmourne. Ooh,
oh, yeah.
that'd be good. And so now he needs to wonder, is it worth using a premium piece of removal on this Godfrey, or do I just continue throwing things down onto the board?
Which tracks to follow?
He says, I'm just going to keep throwing stuff down. Eventually, this Godfrey will die. It's not worth going for it because he's still got a mystery mech that could be something big, like a bulldozer, maybe a Mechathune. And he's still got a Diahorn Matriarch that could come down after this hatchling dies. Even just the Baku in hand is more deserving of a Spider Bomb playdead
you want
than this
something
Godfrey
to
is.
deal with brilliant nullifiers as well.
Yes.
It's incredibly difficult to deal with cards buffed by Brilliant Nullifier consistently. So having the Bloatbat playdead to do that. Oh, is he going to play now?
He needs to be careful because Bloatbat playdead is obviously very powerful. It pushes 7 to face. The downside, though, is you then have a poisonous minion next to your 7/6. So the Super Collider just very easily deals with that whole board once again.
Take the Panther.
Yeah, more stealth.
But then if he unstealths the minion that he currently has on the board, then Super Collider will clean up both. Now, Super Collider causes so many
It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Playing around that card is just an absolute nightmare.
Insania is just silencing all of the cards that he possibly can. All these stealthed owls. It's a tiger owl and a panther owl. Can he consider playing one of these 1-mana cards, the on the right side of the tiger owl? Oh.
Why would you? You play it, yeah, if you play it in the middle, then it stops it. It's still not good though. Like, I was looking that turn a little bit more heavily at, instead of pressing the hero power button, he could have gone for Bloatbat, the 7-mana Bloatbat. You play dead it to kill off both the minions, both the Diahorn and the Godfrey, and then playing one of the 1-mana guys in between your 2 minions. Because then your 7/6 would survive the turn.
Gotcha.
You lose out on a hero power, which is a big downside of the play, but it just means you're pushing more damage. You're locking down board control.
Insania looks like he was going straight to that Bloatbat then, but he's stopped. He's taken his time. Bloatbat playdead, still an option. He can still hero power on top of it.
Yeah, Hero Power Bloat Bat play dead. You want to play the Bloat Bat when you don't have anything else on board while the Super Collider is equipped.
Yes.
Maybe he can go for a different play this turn to bait it out. But starting with the Hero Power, I think, is what always happens this time.
Snap pick the owl again.
He could go for another Tiger Owl or a Panther Owl.
Or a vicious scale owl.
Yeah. These all sound like those really lame comic books from the 60s or something, like Arm Pull-Off Man.
Arm pull-off, man.
You see that comic of this guy and his superpower is he can pull his own arm off and hit people with it. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
No, I did not see that, Derek. I do see a Dr. Boom, though. Finally picked up for Pokrovac, though Pokrovac looking like he's really struggling with this turn.
I'm so
And there we go.
Okay.
Just getting the ball rolling right away with Dr. Boom. He's going to have to do something pretty impressive to pull him into the lead. But in terms of fatigue counts, if we could get a quick look at that, I mean, if the Odd Warrior can stay ahead here for a little while longer, it's not ridiculous to assume that the Hunter could die in fatigue.
Yeah, but because of those Raptors that got shuffled in, I don't think the Warrior is losing the fatigue game.
And the Augmented Elec there, while it's unlikely to come up that the Death Rattle, that the shuffle could work, it could happen.
Senseless hate.
And with the Elec being taken there, if we do see somehow generated another Raptor hatchling, that could be pretty disgustingly powerful, to be honest.
My shield for Argus.
Very nice placement there with the Argus as well. It means that the best outcome that can be made is attacking into the Raptor Patriarch, which still leaves a poisonous guy on the board.
Very confused for a second as to where that Argus came from, but nope, it's just naturally in this deck list. It still appears in the Odd Death Rattle Hunter.
And now any big minion cannot be developed unless a Shield Slam is committed as well into this poisonous guy, which feels pretty rough to be dealing with just a Bloat Bat with your Shield Slam, which is one of the more powerful cards at dealing with the big minions. And that is why Pokrovac is saying, all right, I'm holding back. It's not worth it yet. Maybe I can rush in this poisonous guy. And oh no, wait, if he rushes in the Bulldozer, it would soak up the first poisonous effect with the Divine Shield, but then the Death Rattle would kill it.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult to actually deal with that poisonous Bloat Bat.
Now, Insania has picked up this Carnivorous Cube, which could be huge. There's still a play dead in his hand. If he can end up in that position, once again, where he has one minion on the board, maybe the Arthas Zombiest, and then have Pokrovac ignore it, and then cube it.
It's true.
That could be just game-winning.
He's obviously going to be considering cubing this poisonous Bloat Bat because it's not bad. It makes it very difficult for Pokrovac to develop anything at all. It is only a 4-4 rather than a 5-5 after the Argus buff goes away. But
with both Super Colliders gone...
Yeah, that's the big thing.
The downside to actually having this on the board is gone from Insania. So I can definitely see the temptation, but the thing is, he's going to get so many big minions over the next few turns on the board. Chances of one of them sticking is pretty high. Looks like he is going to go with this cube now, though. I prefer not cubing this, personally. I prefer putting something big like this down and just trying to cube play in it in the same turn.
I agree. Because imagine if you get a Stealth Zombiest and you cube that. That's like... Or a Charge Zombies. Those are the absolute dreams that you should be moving towards. Because I think Pokrovac is correctly realizing here, he's got time to find that. He can be optimistic with his plays.
Baron Geddon common nowadays in Odd Warrior? Not something I've seen a lot of.
No.
I wonder what's inspired that tech. I love that Insania can just drop Spider Bomb into this.
That's true, actually, yeah.
Probably not the play, but... Well, I would imagine he'll start this turn like all others. Press that button. It's just working out whether he wants to spend all of his mana on minions for some reason.
I wonder.
Yeah, if he had a powerful 4-mana Zombeast, I could very much understand Zombeast play cube play dead to try and go wide on the board then. But here, outside of going for Spider Bomb plus play dead, there's little else you want to use your mana on, I think.
He's going to play dead the Spider Bomb. Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's an annoying minion to have on the board, and you don't want the Baron Geddon to be able to trade in first, then...
It's just, all that bothers me about this is that it's such a low value play and you've got such a high value hand and high value plays available against the odd warrior.
Yeah.
But as you said, I guess it's just important they deal with that. If the zombie survives though, even this just getting cubed, that's great.
Maybe he's come to the same conclusion as you, though, that yes, my hand is so high value that I don't need to save this play for the value line. I need to save it for losing to face damage, because if that Baron getting connected to face for another 7, that's actually getting kind of scary. That's a lot of damage that is being taken then.
Wow. That our first Zombeast is going to survive.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
But now I'm thinking, now if the play dead were still there, this would be insane.
Yeah. It's still good, though. Like, he can go for hero power and then just 8 mana of stuff. Ooh, another Raptor Hatchling.
The augmented Alex gone. Never mind.
That's still really good, though. Just one more beast there.
I'm just with the Scale Hide.
Yeah,
3
heal
mana.
yourself back up. You're not dying to anything in this game until fatigue starts to set in.
Yep, and you're not even dying to fatigue because of this. God, he could even cube that. Just win the fatigue game harder. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I prefer cubing a big minion and winning the game with it, but...
It's really not bad. You have an abundance of big minions with the hero power. The one thing that you don't have is infinite time because of the fatigue counter. And here we go, Pokrovac finally saying, enough is enough. I need to win back this board as quick as possible, and hopefully a measly 1-1 Microbot can do the job for him.
Microbots are good at brawls. Death Coil, not the worst.
Yeah, I think really was looking for Frostmourne.
Yeah, Frostmourne or even Death Grip maybe.
Death Grip, Anti-Magic Shell, Doom Pact, I think all get pretty good into fatigue.
I hope you have really good eyes there, because we just got the fatigue counters flash up very, very quickly. They're gone again. Oh, gone again. 3 and no.
Both 3.
Both 3,
Both
okay.
3, which is pretty amazing that Insania, after all those shuffle effects, is still only even in fatigue.
Well, he did play the tracking earlier. He's only shuffled, he shuffled, what, 4 extra cards in?
Yes. But that is a huge deal. Going into fatigue as an even state means the Hunter can just hopefully get some lifesteal options off of Vicious Scale Hide or Swamp Leech and just go card for card, and fatigue will take out the warrior.
I could be wrong, this could be last game, but I think Pokrovac also got a Direhorn Hatchling from a Stonehill defender.
Yes, he's played 3.
So yeah, he shuffled.
1 was silenced, though. 2 have been shuffled in, 1 was silenced.
So he shuffled in 2 cards himself. It's a close game. But I think, and it's close, but I think Insania still wins the long game, or at least as long as this game goes.
Yeah, it's still looking good for him. Those, it's just those 2 big mechs in hand for Pokrovac that are making me hesitant to call it a complete victory for Insania.
Insania's actually run out of ways to clear this.
That's the thing. He doesn't have the answers needed to deal with this necessarily. Right now, he's obviously got, Death Coil and attacking with both your guys is a perfectly good way of dealing with it. But maybe there's just 1 too many delivery drones for Insania to be able to deal with.
Sure.
It's possible.
And as soon as a mech survives, that Beryllium Nullifier attaches itself
Very
to
good
it.
point. Very good point. And then you need a Bloatbat or a Skitterer once again.
Could this be a Reckless Flurry turn? No way.
If you don't go for it now, though, you're taking 10 damage, you have no more armor, which means next turn it's only doing 5, which doesn't even clear off the board.
Kind of has to, but it feels so awful. Giving away half of his total health at the moment, almost.
But you get to go Beryllium Nullifier on the same turn, and if there's no answer for that, you can magnetize Ziliax onto it. I agree, it feels absolutely miserable, but I don't think there's anything else.
Magic neutralized. I'm almost out of cards.
As you can see there, even on fatigue, the warrior drawing first, so ever so slightly behind, I suppose.
Yeah.
But pretty much neck and neck going into fatigue, so it is just going to be who can dominate the board, who can stick that one last minion, and with still that zombie hero power chugging out value for Insania, it looks like he might be able to take it.
Insania, he has 2 cubes. He has big minions available to him, both in his hand and with his hero power. He has a Terrascale Stalker to make a huge board of big minions with the cube.
Yeah.
Things are looking good for him. Pokrovac does have a brawl still, but that's kind of it at the moment. Oh, that Hydra's got to be tempting. If he gets a lifesteal, and this is...
That's obviously insane, yeah. If you knew you were going to get lifesteal as the next option, you'd always pick the Hydra. It's kind of scary because maybe that's the random factor that can go wrong.
Yeah.
If they have some way, like if they discover a Dynamatic and deal a whole bunch of damage to you.
That's true, that's true.
Like, I get the faint suspicion that it might be introducing an element of randomness for Insania that he doesn't need to introduce.
Dynamatic's only 15 damage, though. I say
that's
only 15 damage,
that's
but
a lot.
He's got 26
like, even these
okay.
microbots, they do more damage as well. Oof, as another Beryllium Nullifier is exactly the kind of card that Pokrovac is going to be looking for. He can make himself one giant mech and try and ride it through to a victory.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see how Insania deals with this, other than building a poisonous lifesteal Skitter thing right now. Poisonous Rush, I mean, not lifesteal. He has to press that button and he has to get something good.
Oh man, and this is it. All of his cards are now gone from the deck, so it has to come from the hero power to be able to deal with this. Can he get himself a Vile Brood Skitterer or... I don't know, a stubborn gastropod, something to be able to deal with this.
This really does highlight even further the strengths of Beryllium Nullifier. I find in matchups where the warrior should lose, it often does manage to find a way to get this board, to stick a nullifier on it, and its opponent just can't do anything about it. There's no way of removing it. Ooh. That's a way of removing it, though, potentially.
Stone Skin Basilisk. What was the first option? The wolf. Okay.
Okay. I mean, he has to play the 5-mana 3/3 Divine Shield Poisonous, right? I think he just has to. He's got to play something.
He's going for it. Oh, could this come down to a brawl for Pokrovac? He just has to win that with his big beast.
Oh my goodness. Replicating Menace? That's insane! It's got Rush! The microbots charge into it as well?
That's true. That's enough to kill off the poisonous, isn't it?
It just clears the poisonous minion outright.
Push the rest face. Oh, man.
This would be a good time for a mess.
Dynamatic also would have been insane from this Discover. Obviously, Dynamatic is always insane.
Yep. I don't see how anything else could be the option here.
No, nor do I. Just don't magnetize it on top of the minion you already have, Pokrovac. Place it on the right-hand side, on the right side. There we go, okay.
And that means he gets more damage to face. He basically heals back up to full with the lifesteal effect that Ziliax has granted to this Beryllium Nullifier. And for Insania, once again, he is told you have to get an answer for this right now.
Yeah.
Which he could still get. It's not like he's completely done for him.
Oh, there are plenty of cards that deal with this. Any of those Echo Rush things.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be a poisonous effect any longer. Just any kind of rush or charge, maybe even just a taunt.
Oh. Okay, I can see the logic to this, just dropping big minions, but...
Well, if you go double cube, then that just leaves him with one cube, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
Exploding Bloatbat and the Valkyrie
Skitterer.
Skitterer. If he didn't pick Bloatbat on the first option, he would have been able to kill it off there. But instead, just going with the Taunt. This means even with the Brawl going in favor of the Beryllium Nullifier, it still dies. Oh, no, wait.
It doesn't have
poisonous. Oh, my God.
All right, Insania, you got another chance to kill this, and then Pokrovac is out of minions.
If he'd picked something cheaper, he could have gotten the Valkyrie Skitterer.
I know. Oh.
Or he could have still picked the Valkyrie Skitterer and just taken the
played it this
damage
turn.
on that turn. There's another Bloatbat. Oh.
Poisonous.
The Cobra, he doesn't have the mana to be able to activate it with the Terrascale Stalker on this turn.
Maybe Bloodworm is the play here. I can't play it this turn.
I think you've got to go Cobra.
Because I'm just worried about him dying now.
He is taking a lot of damage.
It's what, 3 from the next turn of fatigue, 9 from the hero for the minion? God, I'm all over the place at the moment.
It's such a close endgame that we've got to here. I thought Insania would have completely exhausted Pokrovac of resources by now.
So as well.
But still, that timely Dr. Boom has just given Pokrovac enough resources to lock down the board with this one big magnetic minion.
Doesn't have taunt, that's annoying. It's like, it's not Gastropod. Now Insania needs to start finding his lifesteal as well. 3 this turn, he takes 4 next turn, so Insania's got 2 more turns. He needs to find something that has lifesteal.
Yeah.
If it has lifesteal rush, he probably plays it, trades it into this thing just to gain the health now.
Maybe. He wouldn't want it to die because you want to be able to cube and Terrascale it next turn as well.
Oh, he got Life Drinker. Bloodworm as well. You take it. You take it.
Because that heals you for 6, because the 3 damage it deals also heals you up as well.
And then it's a big lifesteal minion on the board as well.
He doesn't know what the last mech for Pokrovac is. We can see it's obviously a...
useless mech, yep.
Yeah, it's just a
annoying.
0-3, which isn't going to do anything. But he might be afraid of it being some big minion. I think even then, though, you have to say, if it is that, well done. You know, congratulations.
Trying to set up his own lethal as soon as he possibly can. Even if Pokrovac goes armor up, Reckless Flurry here, there's still going to be Bloatbats on the board.
Yeah, I think you just take the Brawl. You throw in the Alarmer Bot first.
Or not. Finally, though, Insania managed to get the Zombies that he needed, it looks like, to win the game. Oh, he clears the board that way.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's it. Pokrovac is completely
out of stuff.
resources.
He just, well, if he can get himself...
With 3 health remaining, Insania takes himself back up to 9, and next turn can start healing for 7 every single turn. That Zombies is going to do it.
Pokrovac knows it had to be exactly that as well, because Rush Lifesteal wouldn't have been able to attack into anything on that turn. He deliberately left nothing on the board. And that's just going to be it.
Insania takes the second game of the series, which we have only cast 1 game of so far, but that was quite a game. We're going to go down to the very last one. Pokrovac's final remaining deck is, I think, Quest Rogue. Yeah, it is. It's Quest Rogue, which isn't great for Death Rattle Hunter, actually. After all of that Insania just went through, probably not feeling a Death Rattle Hunter Quest Rogue game now.
Yeah, it's gotten better, I would say, as most matchups have against Quest Rogue since the Giggling Inventor nerf.
Yeah.
Because it very much opens up the possibility of just playing out stuff early on. If you just play Mind Control Tech, Terrascale Stalker, whatever minions you have, throw them on the board. Pretty much all of them get to connect phase, and you can just aggro your opponent out of the game with a decent amount of consistency. But, I mean, perfect play is a lot to ask of these players who have just spent an incredibly mentally taxing game there.
Right, and even before that, like, this series has been going on for, you know the series we cast earlier?
Yes.
Between Zixo and Bozo? This series started at the same time as that one. They've been playing for that long.
This is a pretty nice hand here for Pokrovac, and I agree, he keeps it here. Prep and Vanish. These cards are kind of the nuts against Death Rattle Hunter. You're not looking against like Druid for the draw cards. Obviously, Sonya is still a nice card to find. But it just means any development that they make in the early turns, gone. If they play Cube on an egg, anything like that, you just completely deny all their tempo, whilst hopefully bouncing back a couple of your own cheap minions at the same time. No Terra Scale in hand. Insania doesn't feel coin egg is the way to go because obviously no way to activate it on the following turn. May as well slow things down with a potential to go coin Houndmaster, maybe even a coin Rexar.
Trying to grab that coin before it's even his turn. Coin Houndmaster, sure, almost always just feels right, doesn't it?
It does.
Now knowing that he'll be able to deal with any minions that Pokrovac plays.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't have many minions that are good to rush, I would argue, but just the 3/6 alone. Like I said, minions attacking face so consistently now in this matchup makes it very easy for you to just get that damage through.
So would you call this standard Quest Rogue nowadays then, with one Lab Recruiter, one Ziliax?
I think so. I think this is about as standard as it's going to get. I've seen some lists with Corpse Taker thrown in there as well, which is obviously kind of surprising to see in a Quest Rogue. Like, there isn't really a standard build. Any deck that is played only by the hardcore acolytes of the archetype or in very specific tournament settings, it's difficult to get an agreed upon idea of how you build the deck.
My shield for Argus.
Because Quest Rogue is just very rare on ladder, I find. Pretty nice pickup. Get that draw going because Pokrovac obviously didn't want to go just prep Minstrel last turn. Needs to get that value with the Vanish to be able to fight back against the tempo that Hunter will be throwing down.
So now what I'm asking myself is, how does Insania play around Vanish? What minions does he want to commit to the board? Like, because cubes would be very awkward now. But maybe if he could somehow fill his board up so much and fill his hand up that when he gets vanished, a cube dies, he still ends up with minions on the board. It's possible, but that's very difficult to set up.
Yeah, I think it's one of those matchups where it's so bad for your deck that you kind of can't afford to play around it.
Okay.
Like Odd Paladin against Defile. You can't play around Defile the vast majority of the time because it just destroys the core of what your deck is trying to do, which is similar here. You're trying to just stick a couple of decent-sized minions that have quite high mana cost usually, get those Death Rattle combos rolling, which Vanish just completely annihilates.
Pokrovac isn't really making much progress on his quest here. He has a Shadow Step, great. Vanish could help as well, good. The Glacial Shard died, so it's kind of back to square one.
It's just, again, imagine if one of these cards was Giggling Inventor, how easy it would be to just play it, Shadow Step it, play it again, prep Vanish. Like, it just reminds you how ridiculously powerful Quest Rogue was
the golden
with the Giggling
days
in there. Yeah, if you want to call it that.
Of Quest Rogue. Everywhere.
But still just doing a good job of stalling out the game until he's allowed to go prep Vanish, which he obviously doesn't want to do until something more substantial is committed. And Insania, while I was saying it's very difficult to play around Vanish, he's kind of doing the best job he can. He's not committing any of these cubes just played onto the board, because obviously you want to go Death Rattle Activator at the same time, or you're just eating up one of your own minions without any benefit. And so Deathstalker Rexar here to push more damage to face without giving the lifesteal is the best aggressive option he can go for without committing more stuff into a Vanish.
Think.
It's a difficult balance though, because there's wanting to not commit stuff into the Vanish, and there's wanting to kill the Quest Rogue.
Yeah.
Rexar, in a backhanded way, helps you kill the Quest Rogue. It removes your hero power that's killing the Quest Rogue. Gives you another hero power that sort of can kill the Quest Rogue, but slower.
I think you're not too sad to transition over to Rexar hero power. Because there's so many good zombies that help damage immediately.
There's not that many with charge nowadays. That's the problem. Many of them have rush. But short of that stone to spore.
Pokrovac here clearly, finally deciding it's time to go off with the Prep Vanish, because I think mainly it helps with his own quest activation, trying to set it up with the Vicious Scalehide, which I find somewhat surprising when he's got a deckhand in hand. Like, we could have just seen deckhand first, then bounce that back, because it's obviously the cheaper of the two and therefore easier to complete sooner. But given that he's got Valera in hand, it's just about surviving until Valera, and then you go double Scalehide, Shadow Step, Scalehide, all that nonsense, and the quest will be completed very quickly indeed.
Insania just needs to somehow put as much power on the board now as quickly as he can, knowing that one Vanish is gone, knowing that at most there's going to be one more. The problem is, none of his cards really scream power on the board.
He's looking at Keleseth Shaw Candle Shot. Looks like a decent way to clear off the board. He's instead going with Egg.
Well, this can pay off later. There's the second Vanish, though.
Oh, is the Egg that much better there than Shaw? You get a lot of stats on the board with Shaw, and you can start rushing in your cubes. I don't know, I feel like with no Death Rattle activators in hand, trying to set up for cube on the following turn to destroy the Egg is a very slow way of going about setting up that damage. Because imagine if this was a Shaw here, that's just 3 damage through to face, which is a big deal here.
No, you're right. Pokrovac is down to 16 health. That would be 13 this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, like, he's setting up for the... He was setting up for either cube or the Defender of Argus here, but I'm not sure that I like that plan more than just getting 3 damage to face on the following turn with Shaw.
Pokrovac actually free to just play Valera this turn and then Vanish the turn after that. This is starting to look like it is the Quest Rogue's territory here.
Yeah, if he goes double Terror Scale, that's 2 mana spent. Prep Vanish, it's another 3. So unable to get quest played.
Double Scalehide, not
Double Scalehide, sorry. Wrong scale. And nothing being able to be pushed face here, which means the real fear for Insania of that Vanish will quickly be realized, because it's very unlikely he plays around it because he's already seen one. I think he will realize if there is another Vanish, I'm kind of just losing this game anyway, so let's get stuff on the board.
This is tricky. Play dead is stuff on the board immediately. Savannah Highmane is better stuff on the board, but more slow.
I do, however, want to point out that just because Valera can be played and Quest is activated, that no longer means a guaranteed victory. It's a really good spot for Pokrovac to be in, but you don't have Giggling Inventor, which means this damage can and very likely will be pushed through to face once Katharina or King Crush is found.
Insania's trusty Life Drinker Zombiest with Lifesteal strat coming in strong again. Sonya picked up with the Scalehide in hand. That's it. Quest is complete.
Yeah, playing it first because he wants to have more Scalehides rather than have the tempo of getting them out quickly, which I can respect. As, I mean, I was saying it's not necessarily a victory for Pokrovac.
With Sonya as well, he can hide the Sonya behind the Wax Elemental.
Sonya scale hide is completely insane.
He can play 2 Sonyas.
It just means that any minion above 4 attack for Insania just is actively bad for him. And he has to play big minions or he's not winning the game. He doesn't have a choice in that. Caught between a rock and a hard place.
He has a turn to develop himself onto the board. Filling a play dead's kind of awkward. You know, Shaw's a good start. Cube, cool, play dead it. This is about as powerful a board as the Hunter is capable of coming up with only 10 mana.
And I said any minion with more than 4 attack is actively bad for him. Shaw is that perfect sweet spot of a high-statted minion that still only has 3 attack, which means there isn't the complete blowout victory next turn of Sonya, Scale Hide, Prep, Quest, and then you just sacrifice like 4 Scale Hides in. Those Shaws will be connecting for a lot of damage. And I think Pokrovac sees that. It's very scary here. It likely will be that these Shaws will stick around for a while and connect for a lot of damage.
As he only has 1 Scale Hide now in the hand, he can't just waste it. He has to be duplicating that with Sonya, with Zola, with something.
He just doesn't have enough mana, even with a 2-mana quest. He wants to be able to play like Sonya and 2 Scale Hides and Zola all in the same turn. Yeah, prep quest happens every time. I wonder if he's looking at Fan of Knives, because then that means the cube dies with 1 hit of the Scale Hide instead.
Just the most defensive possible play, it looks like.
Playing your Wax Elementals into a board full of Shaws is an absolute nightmare, though. Because they just get cleaned up by all the rush minions.
Yeah. But,
wow.
In theory, the cube doesn't die. So, there's only so many attacks Insania should be able to make this turn. As we can see, Spider Bomb...
Oh, there's so many attacks you can make here, though.
Is insane.
Or Spider Bomb, or Cube on the Cube.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Katharina. Like, there's so many good options here on this turn for Insania.
This has been such a close couple games that we've been casting from this series. And all day, actually. The series between Bozo and Zixo was about as close as it possibly could be.
Maybe, though, for Pokrovac, he can kind of bait Insania into Defender of Argusing his 2 Shaws, which means they go up to 4 attack, and Sonya Scale Hide would all of a sudden start getting the repetitive kill effect. Goes with the hero power on this turn, which I find surprising. Oh! And he's going for that play, buffing up the 2 Shaws here, which is really quite good for Pokrovac. The fact that his Scale Hides now die with the Sonya gives him so much more healing, so much more board clear, and the Spider Bomb only kills off the Zola.
Okay, so potential turn, comeback turn. He's going to play both Sonyas, it looks like, and just fill up his hand with Vicious Scale Hides. So back to full health immediately.
This really couldn't have worked out any worse for Insania.
That was really complicated for him to set up, though. Like, knowing exactly what to play around and actually trying to set up a board that your opponent's minions don't die in is just very strange.
I don't know. I feel like it's not ridiculous to play around Sonya, because it's not exactly Sonya plus Scale Hide. No, it's Sonya plus anything. Rush or charge.
Deckhand, Boar.
Deckhand, Boar, or Scale Hide, exactly. All of those cards, you really don't want to have a bunch of 4-attack minions. And so I wonder if something instead, like cubing his own cube, or even just playing Katharina, anything that doesn't change these Shaws from 3-attack to 4-attack would have been a better way to go about it.
I don't think we've even seen a Boar from Pokrovac this game, and he is running 2.
I don't think so. Okay.
Which, for a while, wasn't common at all.
Yeah. And also, I think Insania knew that there was a scale height in hand, right? Because it had been bounced back
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
a whole bunch of times.
So it is just Sonya that, yeah.
And he's been punished for it. This means Pokrovac has potentially 6 scale heights he could play over the next few turns with the Death Shadow
He
effect thrown in there.
does, but Insania still has 2 Hellmaster Straw. He still has Katharina that he can play now. He still has this cube. I mean, this with the flanking strike, the problem is Sonya's still there in the hand.
Still gives another Sonya.
Oh, man. Pokrovac can just play 2 Sonya again for only 4 mana.
Sonya is so disgusting.
Just comes straight back out again.
Yeah, of course. Get yourself more value, why not?
Come, try your
It's just so many cards. I don't think Insania can overcome this. Pretty embarrassing for to be the sound of your demise. But it looks to me like that's where Insania may have found himself, because even with a rushing Katharina, which he will still now have access to, I don't think there's anything here. It would have to be
A bloat bat.
poisonous bloat bat, I think.
A Gastropod Bloatbat would do it from a hero power this turn.
Life Drinker, not the savior for him this game that it was last game.
He gives it up. Pokrovac does take the series eventually. And what a great series it was, Cora.
Yeah, a couple of very close matches.